No, no, yeah, no.
Hello, Earth 1218 and everyone in it. I have returned. And I have a lot to share. Fortunately, I typed it out already and screen capped it. It is a long read, so grab yourself a cup of coffee and enjoy my experiences while in Magi-chan's body. Hey, at EVERYONE. I'm back. Wow. That was a real adventure, edited. Going into a more powerful body in the neighboring dimension is quite the shocker type of an event. Anyway, Muto and I had a great time in California. The first day, with Magi-chan's legs, I ran from Virginia to California. It was a lovely run. I almost tripped a few times, but the psychic senses gave me a heads up, so I was able to instinctively avoid the mishaps. The weather was clear and good that morning. Lovely views, even though a lot of them were blurred to me. An hour or two later, we made it to Utah. I found and visited my BFF, Anna McLaren. I initially had a tough time verbally communicating with her, or getting her attention. But I went telepathic, and she was able to hear me. She looked like she was hearing a ghost. Vertical bar clarified who I was, and that I was standing right in front of her. I put a hand on her forehead, while she was sitting on the couch, sent a few mind-opening pulses, and she was able to see me. Startled, yes, but she soon calmed down. I told her about how Magi-chan and I switched bodies, and that I was on my way to Cali. She saw and takes with Muto as well. It was a lovely hour of conversing. After leaving, we made our way to California. Took less than a half hour to look up at CHRIS_KINK''S place. He wasn't at home. The mixture of light and dark presences were obvious in there, but it was tolerable. Especially since my light power and soul were brightening up the place. We found Jake and made ourselves obvious to him. He did notice us, but damn was his ad turned on, as he remained focused on talking with his peeps and friends that late morning hour. We did get Jake to notice us fully, or as fully as possible. I personally attest and confirm, despite his young Jake soul, offline and in person, Jake is really civil and kind, as well as respectful of personal space. I will admit, however, I still had my own horny impulses, regardless of the body I was in. Soulfully, I can be quite, what's the word? I don't want to say nympho, because that's an exaggeration. Let's go with sensual. Anyway, he did have his body pillow a tad to look like me. Yeah, it was weird to me, but he meant well. He did not need to enchant the thing either. I jumped into it and out of it, just because he felt better able to hold me that way. I gotta tell you, he gives really comforting hugs. What else? Elle hugged him back. I talked to him. He adored and appreciated my presence, attention, and kindness. It was quite the educative experience that I will keep in memory and soul to heart what I had witnessed of his magic craft. Whoosh. That venting sent out to take out the two individuals behind Blanca Weiss, as well as those behind Clyde Cash and Ryan Bash. Way back when, there must have been more than 100 Metagross making a thick 3-layer dome around his home temple. Muto and I were about 100 or so miles away from there for safety. All that to ensure the safety of the innocent and non-related peoples. We meditated around all of the temples in California. We even visited Chinatown. Really good food there, and it remained quite rustic and lovely. Many portals cracked open all around us, and in Virginia at the same time, and our surrounding states on either side of the continent. The energy that poured in was amazing. It fueled not only myself, but an arcing rainbow over the USA to Magi-chan, and back again. What he felt really lit up my body many times. It happened to me on my end with his body too. Edited. Anyway, Muto and I had to leave when Jacob stopped resisting Jacoba. Ugh, it was Natasha Turner smoking cigarettes in front of me during Providence middle school years all over again. We were to keep ourselves distant when Jacoba was being channeled and talking before then, to be safe. I know him. He really would enslave others in the guise of peace. The God throne is really way too much for him. All he was really doing was keeping that throne warm for the next in line, but he has been too stubborn to leave it and was power hungry. We will take him out and restore everything as soon as we can, together. Next, I triggered the vibrations in Magi-chan's body to adjust the dimensional frequency. I had to work by soulful feeling in finding R1218, and it took me hours of focus and concentration, but I did it. I got Magi-chan Sonichu's body fully visible here. After that, people did begin seeing me. Muto suggested I teleport elsewhere, so we teleported to one of the many temples. We meditated and rested for a while. Over the past week, we've been further channeling energy and power and sending them back and forth to and from with Magi-chan. As well as fighting off a bunch of demons that came along after Jacoba's true self counterpart's soul tampered with the dimensional curtain. Ugh, that will be quite the union of that soul with its dimensions. As well as fighting off a bunch of demons that came along after Jacoba's true self counterpart's soul tampered with the dimensional curtain. Ugh, that will be quite the union of that soul with its dimensions, Jacoba. Not much power increase, but the motivation and arrogance will be worse. Tiring and crazy. Muto and I teleported back to Virginia after fighting off a few more of the bastards. Magi-chan left his for now last thoughts and prayers, and as he put on the second earring, we hugged and we talked a bit how tough it was for each of us. We felt the soul transfer happen, and it happened really quick, less than a minute's time. Like a road trip, the trip to distant destination B feels like a Luan trip, and the return trip back to Pointer feels shorter and easier. From my perspective, going from a body that was still developing its powers in a restrictive reality, whereas my soul is most omnipotent everywhere else, into a fully powered psychic/electric Pokemon body, leading to control my emotions with the powers. Even his brain worked a lot better than my own. It was unreal and new to me. Thankfully, Muto mentored me, and I had a quick learning curve. It actually was as simple as my own psychic powers, when I'm projected outside of my body, or from my body, and into the C197 side of the curtain. From my perspective, going from a body that was still developing its powers in a restrictive reality, whereas my soul is most omnipotent everywhere else, into a fully powered psychic/electric Pokemon body, leading to control my emotions with the powers. Even his brain worked a lot better than my own. It was unreal and new to me. Thankfully, Muto mentored me, and I had a quick learning curve. It actually was as simple as my own psychic powers, when I'm projected outside of my body, or from my body, and into the C197 side of the curtain. Still, it was like going from kindergarten to college. That's a lot of wisdom and power. I knew everything. Had access to his limitless knowledge and memories, including those of him, when he went back in time, and into other dimensions and everywhere. I saw myself on Kid Asuna from his perspective, before I was banished from there for the past crimes, to be reincarnated through the chaotic rainbow, and into my mother's womb and all that. I watched both of my parents' lives play out from birth to present, with Robertu's death from 1218 and reincarnation into C197, within minutes to an hour or so. I watched and recalled my own life from birth to present as well. I saw the Big Bang. I foresaw billions of outcomes for this timeline. I saw the other pieces and highlights of history in all of their details. Deep breaths and sigh. It was intense, but I digress. I can only remember as much as possible out of it all in my soul memory, which it is now being transferred and backed up into my brain and my cloud saved backup in the cosmos. I will also attest from what I have foreseen, Jake's visit here will be pleasant and eventful, and he shall leave Jacoba on the curb back and outside of California, not in Virginia at all. He is truly a very kind gentleman and individual. I feel he should not have had to ever resort to what he had done in the past, but had he not done so, and reformed by mine, and Magi-chan's personal interventions and abilities, he would not be as better personally developed, and confident as he is. Moral of that story, treasure your experiences, good and bad, they all shape you into the better and stronger individual that you are. I appreciate all of my past experiences. And now, everything will play out, and come full circle, fully and well, indeed. Good day, everyone. I'm continuing to meet and interact with all of you face to face and in person. I still have many lives to make a difference for and with here in this dimension. Everyone who has seen me and talked with me knows who they are, and some of them are on the Kiwi farms. I will be gracing Null's presence as well within the next few days. Meanwhile, many more portals are opening up in this world, and the magics and energies from C197 are flowing into this dimension. Amongst the creators/authors of this world, as well as the fated and most appropriate and durable of the remainder, have been feeling their respective powers growing and further developing. Even varying telekinesis and telepathy within at least half of them, and various other abilities and magics with the remainder. I also put this forward to those who have received a quartz from ChrisChan at BronyCon, to keep your quartz close, as they not only further develop and enhance your respective abilities, but also offers the greatest of soulful and body protection and blessings that will be needed and most helpful to all of you choice creators. Keep your minds, hearts, and mind's eyes wide open, remain observant and learning, do as you will at your best with your respective ox and their allies, friends, and family. Mary Sue and Gary Stu will need Maddies. Meth Vans and Kikits help very much in the coming days, to say the least. That is all for now. I will see each and every one of you all, face to face very soon, and in the nearby days and moments. Thank you. One does become humbled and aware when they're experiencing and feeling what others feel. When one realizes and are aware of their ways being harmful unto others and feels they are not too far gone, it is valid and fair to send them to where they can do the most good. Also, to comment, that's one way how fate works. Good morning, everyone. A meaning behind this tweet has been brought to my attention, mainly how at ITSALLSOUGLY wrote how tyrannical I came off as in years past through my unicorn self counterpart. I agree, for a trolling act of distant observation, this method was quite extreme point, but in this, as Ben had put it so bluntly, Nightster had considered the contents of Phantom Horn's presently lingering intentions in his heart, while also noting that there is good in there. In particular, unicorn supremacy was being a dominant lingering intention. Alternatively, Nightster could have brought PH into her subspace, working within the 1 second of time in Equestria, and showed him his past actions, and told him why what he did in the present moment was wrong. In particular, much like taking a picture or recording of someone else, their permission and consent should be acquired beforehand. Nightster was being followed around, in being observed and documented, without her consent, even though she already knew they were presently following her the whole time. She had hoped they would ask for her permission and actually talk with her for her direct perspective. She could have simply erased PH's and SM's memories of the moment and let them go, but they would have likely repeated their action of trolling her in this fashion, and not have learned anything. Out of all of the alternatives and options Nightster had foreseen with PH's circumstances and intentions in general, as well as all likely future outcomes after those facts, she ended up finding that sending the two of them to New Milwaukee in efforts of calming the hate and trolling there, it would prove more of a galvanizing result that would most likely shape them to better understand the repercussions. Sigh. Again, I agree of how extreme the punishment appears, but Phantom Horn and Strawberry Milk are fated with protection to stay alive. And well, because they continue to be needed much later on for other future events back in Equestria and where else. The experience and views are indeed violent, in this sense. This sentence is harsh, but it is not tyrannical. The means are justifiable. And it remains a fact that, even if you bring in a police individual, or a group of police, they would not do a damn thing about this sort of individual trolling action. Not even the likes of the government or CIA or any of all that would either. So it still remains on us individuals to defend ourselves, and show why such trolling actions can be observed, or felt as wrong, especially the types that can fall into bullying, or hatred if left to continue down such paths. But, I digress. Are things perfect even with premonition abilities? Nothing is perfect. All we can do is the best we are able to that leads to the best possible outcome for the individual or individuals and everyone else's benefits. It's not easy on us, either regardless. This is what at ITSALLSOUGLY saw a Phantom Horns and Strawberry Milk set of events. I have verified and confirmed this to have happened between C-197's Equestria and Earth, therefore it remains fact and canon. Even being a deity, myself, seeing all of these kinds of things having to play out for the future benefits, amongst my other responsibilities and duties, it is quite rough and tough on me as well. I feel and empathize. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Love over hate also. I will personally clarify and inform all of you, Nightster is not at all cruel, insane, or psychopathic. That was a misconception that was made as at ITSALLSOUGLY. Tuck writing liberty to put those words in her speech balloons. She is level-headed, calm, cool, sane, and so forth. Sincerely very much like me, but she is her own individual with her situations that differ from my own. She literally works with Princess Twilight Sparkle in many a dialogue, intelligent conversation, and experiments and dimension analyzing. Plus, she has Kun, who is also calm and cool in his own way, and he helps keep Nightster level, along with everyone else. She continues to have great mental focus and emotional control when using her powers and abilities. I, personally speaking from experience, attest and confirm that doing all of that is not an easy task. In fact, keeping a calm and clear mind, meditating, keeping focus and controlling emotions, with everything between this dimension, C-197, and all other related and existing, not to mention the alternate timelines and constant premonitions of various outcomes, and determining the most likely out of them, not to mention coping with any random thing that pops in, and interrupts your meditation and bumps you out, or whatever have you, not to mention the alternate timelines and constant premonitions of various outcomes, and determining the most likely out of them, not to mention coping with any random thing that pops in, and interrupts your meditation and bums you out, or whatever have you. I reiterate, Nightster is not cruel, psychopathic, or insane at all. She does what is needed, as fated and appropriate, when the premonitioned moment arises. As much do I, and I have known that I was being trolled, but I play a long, because a greater good is fated to happen. I'm just beating myself up over this, but I feel compelled to say something now. Yes, I did indeed tell Jake to return home, and yes, I made the following recorded statement.
This is Christine Weston Chandler Science You, and I extend this message out to all the individuals who are actually not just all bark and no bite, wanting to intercept Jacob Sockness on his trip to Virginia, or at this point possibly back to California, because I'm pretty much going to tell him that the visit is off. I want you all to intercept and talk with him. Thank you.
I have had a really rough day yesterday. My soul, aura, vibrations and psychic senses were hopping the walls with me. I even fainted, and Mutuo had to possess my limbs to get me from my desk to bed. I crashed and slept for a few hours. And then to hear the more recent statement of him, and my body just extensively heating up, counter-arguing as I could, but I just could simply no longer overlook the red flags of fated warning. When your body gets hot like a macaco, and it hurts, you do not ignore it. Besides which, my senses and psychic links have been seriously going off and on like crazy recently, so mainly on that, I ultimately chose to send Jake back home, and I made the statement to make sure he gets the message. I'm really sorry, Jacob. As much as I do love and care about you, it is simply too soon. Everyone, I'm channeling Michiro with this dimension. 1218. He has a message for at TOO_SEXY4CWC. Michiro, Jacob. I have watched you grow up over these many years and seen you develop. This trip you have been on was a test for you. You needed to distance yourself from the temple that was your home to best get away from Jacoba's influence. But, in your recent actions, I see that you are irredeemable at this point. Not even I can save you at this point. I have spoken with Magi-chan, Muto and our princess many times without your knowledge. We all knew that you were fated to make this sacrifice in the California to Chicago trip and the return trip. At this point, I do urge you to take the return ticket from your new and light-powered ally and return to California. At TGESPARE. Is a poison to you. To see you partner with him puts a tear in my eye and heart. You know very well that our Princess Christine/Fahuni is a most valuable individual who holds greater strengths and powers than you. And I hate to break it to you personally, but your involvement in the merge has been very good, and you shall continue as you will in these events that still will make it happen. Magi-chan has made it happen with Christine's help in getting himself fully into this dimension. Anyway, my student, your decisions at this point are not the right ones. I urge you to rethink about things. We will see you back to your home in California safely and well. Our princess does care about you with all of her being, that is a fact, she never lied about that. That is all I shall say to you. Be safe and well, Jacob. Michiro Christine, I have had to execute the decision in this crossroad of events and all this. I'm not feeling happy about this at all. I cry for Jacob as well. He is in a situation worse than I was in that trip to Ohio in 2009. I did love and care for him. I still care about him. I had no intention of stringing him along at all. I'm seriously feeling everything. My health is an issue as well. Discounting the accusation from that unrecorded voice chat, non-legitimate evidence, I ended up in no healthy situation on my part. To be able to have a guest point, this was fated to happen. And in seeing his present true colors, while I do still care about him, I feel saddened and disappointed with Jacob in this outcome. And taking into account having seen everything he had done since 2000, and he was reforming and doing better. Now this and this genuine, unmanipulated emotion from me, period. I truly do feel this way. Even though I'm immortal, I can still feel pain. It has been hurting and burning in me, now it's worse. Months ago, I even foresaw and told Jacob that he and I were more likely to end up in a distanced ship where he hates me, more or less, like my brother, #COLESMITHEY, does of me. I told Jacob my premonition, he remained adamant of him and I being in a good relationship together, so I had little choice but to continue onward and see what fate had in store for us later. Now the premonition has come, and Jacob is feeling lost. I'm feeling upset that it did end up as so, and he is hurting because of me. Oh. There's someone special photobombing in this video. For the record, the camera tends to add an animated flair. Magi-chan is more realistic in person.
Because it's also read by himself and his wife. I don't know, she has a different last name, so it might be his wife without a changed last name or whatever. I cannot recommend this book because I'm like, yeah, great job, give the person you want.
Something distracted him at 45:35.
There's Stellan Skarsgård, who, for those of you familiar with the MCU, he's the scientist in Thor. Yeah, just a bunch of really, yeah.
Oh, you
Fuck up, Leo.
Yeah, I feel so too.
What about the glowing reviews?
People died.
People are dead. I would say the most actually intriguing thing that I found out about the whole thing, or that I loved about all of it, is its sound design.
A very happy and safe birthday to my mother, Barbara Chandler, who is now 78 years young.